David Hunn is with us, who's a fast friend of the show. He is with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. David Hunn, good morning this morning.
Good to be here, McGraw.
You and I, you were at that meeting on, I guess, Monday night at the Dome, and it was the CityArchRiver community meeting, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was a report to the community. They had actually planned on doing it a while ago, and that was the day that the big storms came through, I think.
So they canceled it and then rescheduled it for Monday.
Right.
That's the first time I had a really good opportunity to see all the things that are going to happen downtown at the Arch. I was shocked and couldn't have been any prouder to be a St. Louisan.
That's great to hear. There definitely are two camps still. There's definitely camps that are critics, but I think even those critics are beginning to become fans of parts of the plans. So, like, for instance, they talked a lot about the building of Lenore K. Sullivan yesterday, 2 days ago.
Right.
And, some of the guys who didn't like this whole – there's a group of folks who really want to tear up Highway 70. And instead of, putting the park over Interstate 70 that goes into the Arch grounds that connects downtown to the Arch and the river, they want to destroy the highway and connect the entirety of downtown to the, Laclede's Landing, river, etc. Well, even those guys, they still may not like all the plans, but for instance, they really like that trail system that's going to go on, Lenore K. Sullivan.
Right.
They like some of the design work even. There's still some critics, but I think they're slowly getting kind of turned over to some of the parts.
A lot of people don't realize this, and I didn't until you told us this, that all of this work is going to start in June.
Oh, yeah. People think that this is a long way off or pie in the sky. This is not at all. Driving down Memorial will end in June.
Right. And then they'll be finished by next summer.
So parts of it, the park over the highway is coming fast, and that should be done in about a year and a half after they start construction in June. But Lenore K. Sullivan, that's going to take. They won't be finished with that till 2015.
And they're going to bike paths, as you say, all around, gardens all around.
Right.
They're going to have it sort of flow into the landing much better, much more flow for people to enjoy it.
Well, this is I think a really unique part of the design. They're going to they're going to tear down that garage, the Metro garage, which is still controversial. People wonder where folks are going to park, and we can get to that in a second. But when they tear it down, that opens up the Arch grounds to those arched pathways under Eads Bridge into Laclede's Landing. And people correctly point out that Eads Bridge, is its own historic landmark. It's really a beautiful, beautiful bridge that we currently have kind of covered up.
Right.
By several different things. Right. So this will open the Arch grounds. You'll be, instead of looking at Metro, parking lot, you'll be looking at Laclede's Eads Bridge, and then Laclede's Landing through the arches.
It's a great point. Here you have this structure that people come from all over the world to see, and we've put a giant concrete parking lot right next to it so nobody can see it.
Right.
Makes no sense. What was the big news coming out of Monday's meeting?
Yeah, so they talked about several different things on Monday, and for those who weren't following closely, everything was new. I mean, lots of new drawings and so many visions that I don't think people saw before. Much like you, McGraw, when you got there, you were like, I've never seen this spread.
Right.
But the real news that came was the description of Lenore K. Sullivan. We didn't know until this week that, so they want to lift it. They want to lift it 2.5 feet up. Well, we didn't know how that would look. What does it look like to lift a road 2.5 feet? How does that interact with the cobblestone? What does it look like from the river?
Right.
Well, suddenly we see all that. It's actually, I think, quite nice. It's a wall that stops the Mississippi from flooding, right? And then rises up, continues up into these kind of light fixtures and steel barricades, and it's quite a promenade.
Perfect for bikers, walkers, parents with carriages, food trucks, just a great staging area.
Two thoughts on that. First off, I talked to several people that night one of the guys, I love talking to him. He said he lives in South County. He's a biker. Mm-hmm. He's biked from South County to the Arch.
Right.
He's driven to North County and biked from North County to the Arch, but he's never gone the whole way.
Right.
And he's really excited about making that path. Walter Metcalf, the chair of CityArchRiver, and kind of one of the city's
civic progress type
right,
guys.
Exactly. He said at one point to me that this isn't just about the arch, and I kind of scoffed at him. Like, what do you mean? You guys are just doing this parks and trails stuff almost as bribery to get the votes to pass the arch tax.
Right.
And he said, no, that's not true. The arch is like a trailhead for the park for these trails. The arch is a ending spot when you bike. The arch is connected to all these trails. That's what we want. We want people to bike to the arch and bike from the arch. And he's got a great point. Like I said, I was skeptical at first, but I actually think I could see people being in Kirkwood and saying, "Hey, let's bike to the arch this morning."
I have biked to the arch since I live on Washington Avenue, and there's just nothing like it. It's just the coolest thing in the world to sort of bike up to the arch and then sit on one of those park benches next to the arch and just look at it. It's amazing.
Now I'll add one more thing though. So Susan Troutman, the executive director of Great Rivers Greenway, the public agency that's going to be kind of handling the public money on this project,
right?
She called me out in the meeting. So there's reporters are we like to be behind the scenes.
Sure.
So it was a little, I maybe was a little embarrassed. And she said that I asked her, and she was right, I did. I asked her, what happens, Susan, if nobody comes? What happens if you put all this money in and nobody comes? But she didn't answer her question. So she's on stage. She called me out, but she didn't answer her question.
Right.
And it's a shame because the answer was better than the question. The answer was, we know that's a problem. And we have to add programming, incentives. The construction of the Arch project is just part of it. The next step is, what do you do with the land? And that's going to be equally important, she said.
I thought she said, Metcalf said, they're already coming. So we have to build it. They're already there. They're just not staying there. They're just not flowing into the city more.
Well, that's only partly true. There has been a marked decrease in attendance at the Arch over the past 5 years.
David Hunn with us. A couple more minutes. The CityArchRiver organization gave a presentation to the public on Monday. I asked we're all cynics, right? Everyone, public money, it's always a waste. But I mean, clearly you got a sense of you can agree, you can disagree, but the amount of effort that has gone into this, you can't disagree with the amount of effort and the amount of care that they've given to this project.
One might say that a good sign is that they're arguing about things like design and cost, not the need for it to be done.
Right. I asked a very simple to sort of show how hard it is to do anything down there because there are so many historic sites and the cobblestones are considered protected and the Eads Bridge is protected. And I asked about the Harry Weber, Lewis, and Clark statue.
Right.
That's right next to the arch.
Right.
And the answer took 35 minutes. Like what are you going to do with that beautiful statue? And it's like, well, this person has to sign off on it, then this person has to sign off on it, then the federal government has to sign off on it. To move a statue, I mean, it takes so many different hands. So I felt bad for anybody who wants to try and do anything.
Yeah, and it's interesting seeing all those folks up there at that presentation Tuesday night?
I think it was Monday night.
Monday night. And Tuesday night. Okay. Yeah. So that presentation, I mean, how many different people got up to talk? It was a little confusing, frankly.
Right.
If you were just sitting in the audience and you didn't know about this, it's like person after person gets up to start speaking. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? There's a lot of players in this.
And a lot of moving parts, and I think they should be commended.
McGraw, what was the answer for the statue? Can they move it?
They want to move it to the new park. They're going to tear down the concrete parking lot.
Yep.
That's going to be a walking garden or something.
Yep.
They want to put it in there. However, they have to have the feds sign off on it.
So I love this. If they move any of the cobblestones on the riverfront, they have bound themselves to move them to a spot where it can be seen again. So they have to move the cobblestone back to it could be a different area, but it's got to be on the riverfront.
It's pretty exciting stuff, whether you go down to downtown or you just sort of enjoy great. I mean, it's just a neat thing, and I'm excited to see them get started on it. So
I mean, June, a month and a half away, 2 months.
David Hunn, all your stories in the stltoday.com. You can read it, you can see it, and now we'll post this up so we can link this video up to the story so we can see it as well. David, thanks. Great work.
Thanks for having me, McGraw.
7:34, traffic weather, all next on